Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Zanzal, coach, ordained minister, grandma, mama of four, and a queer woman married to my lovely, gorgeous wife after I came out later in life. This is Coming Out and Beyond LGBTQIA Plus Stories, a podcast for everyone exploring identity, queerness, and what it means to live more truthfully, no matter our age or stage. We share stories of coming out, starting over, resiliency, how to navigate relationships, grief, joy, and building lives that actually fit us as human beings. No labels required, just curiosity, courage, and a little faith in this journey. Welcome. Let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of Coming Out and Beyond. I am super excited today because this is a dawn of a new era. I want to introduce my guests. My first guest is Dr. Robin Sesan. Robin is a highly experienced licensed psychologist who offers both individual and couples therapy. Her practice, the Brandywine Center Collective, is located in Wilmington, Delaware. She sees most of her clients in person, but is able to provide telehealth therapy to people all over the world. Robin is passionate about her work with couples and has special expertise in helping couples create a stronger and more secure bond. She is also a practicing artist showing her work regionally. Like therapy, her artwork is multi-layered. In therapy and with her art, she helps people find their strength, develop their authentic voice, and make courageous changes in order to have the life and relationships they desire. Anna Empey, who is my other guest today, is a business development consultant and has worked with many small businesses, wearing many hats from marketing to sales to operations to help each company succeed. While Anna worked for those companies, many of them experienced major growth, achieving what seemed impossible at times. As part of the LGBTQ plus community, Anna has also volunteered with a variety of nonprofits that are here to provide support and resources to prevent suicide and increase inclusion. Anna's passion is truly to help make the world a better place by helping those around her. She loves supporting others in achieving their goal. She's a powerful leader who loves seeing possibilities and ideas become reality. Ultimately, Anna loves having her clients and communities win. Welcome, you two, to the show.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, an honor to be with the two of you, and looking forward to our discussion.
I am too. And so if Anna and Robin seem a little familiar to you, especially to the devotees of this podcast who've seen every episode, Anna has been on the podcast before. And in fact, she interviewed Tanda and I to talk about our relationship. And I am one of the businesses that Anna helped. We met about 3 or 4 years ago. We always have a hard time figuring out when it was.
It feels like a long time.
It feels like a long time. When I built my first business, I built my first website. And after about a year, I said, of trying to learn SEO, I said, I need to find somebody who does this professionally. And honestly, I reached out in a group called Freelancing Females, and everybody said, Anna Empey, Anna Empey, Anna Empey. And that's how Anna and I met. And then, so Anna's been on the podcast before. We're going to link every episode she's been on in the notes before. And then Dr. Robin Sesan has also been on the podcast before. For a little while, I had another podcast called Queer Business Success, and Robin was on that. And then she came on Coming Out and Beyond because her passion is helping lesbian couples. And so we've even brought, Robin, I don't know if you know this, but we've even done a rerun of your episode because we've done it we put it up once because we didn't have an episode for that week. And so sometimes we replay ones that are really, really good.
Great.
So you've been on twice, believe it or not.
Thank you. Yeah. I just, I love the way the three of us have kind of come together. Because I was just out there trying to connect with people who could help me get this lesbian couple course off the ground. And I found you, Anne-Marie, And then through you, I got connected with Anna, and
Mhm.
it's just, we're all over the country, but we've
We
connected
are
around,
all over the
well,
country.
yeah, around something we really feel very strongly about. So it's great.
Absolutely.
It's great. Yeah.
So, Anna and I are now in business together. We have a company called Purposeful Empowerment, and our goal is to empower queer female creators, queer creators to create support and services for the communities they love. And the first person we wanted to do this with is Robin. So, Robin, tell us a little bit about what your passion is and what community that you want to help and how we'll get to how we empowered you after that. But tell
Okay.
us, like,
Okay.
what's your passion and who do you want to help?
So as a therapist and really specializing in working with couples, and as a later in life lesbian myself, what I started noticing was that a lot of lesbian couples were coming to see me, and they had been to other couples therapy before, and it just hadn't hit the mark. And they were seeing good therapists. So it wasn't just that they were in bad couples therapy. They were seeing good couples therapists, but there was something really missing. And so I became really concerned that this population was not being well served. And as a couples therapist, highly trained couples therapist, I knew that there was something missing in the training of therapists and certainly in helping lesbian couples, that it was good therapy plus something else was needed. And so I decided that I wanted to develop for more lesbian couples to access good lesbian couples therapy. And that became my passion. So not only do I treat a lot of lesbian couples, but I wanted to expand the reach because there are a lot of lesbian couples around the country who don't have access to good therapy. They certainly don't have access to good lesbian therapists or therapists who are. And so, as part of that, I decided, okay, let me develop an online course that lesbian couples can access from the comfort of their own home, that was not only providing them with really good couples therapy or couples relationship enhancement, but was also addressing some of the unique challenges that lesbian couples face. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really what became my passion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because lesbian couples do face quite a bit of challenges, right? Like, not to like go down a dark hole here, but let's look at some of the stats that we see. 72% of same-sex couples divorces in the UK in 2019 were between women, and lesbian
Yeah.
couples have higher rates of emotional intensity and separation than other demographics. And many queer couples report feeling isolated and unsupported by traditional therapy models. And, personally, I can attest to this too, right? It took me and my wife, Caitlin, quite a bit of time to find somebody who understood the dynamics of our relationship. And they really wanted to pigeonhole us into the model that they saw. So I know that this need is there. And it's not that Caitlin and I have a bad relationship. No, we're going through some really difficult things, and we needed somebody who understood those challenges that we were uniquely facing. And that's one of the reasons why when I when I met Robin, I was so thrilled about what she was creating, because I really could see the value. Like, I couldn't stop thinking about how great it was for like a whole month. Every time I talked to her, I was so lit up and so excited. She could tell you that too.
Yeah, well, and sometimes the couple themselves don't know what's really underneath some of the struggles, right? So one of the things that I often talk with my lesbian couples about are their coming out stories, because there is so much involved in that. Whether you came out at 18 or whether you came out at 45, that is loaded. And a lot of the couples I was working with, and by not asking that, you're missing a whole lot of rich information.
Well, my wife and I, Tanda, have gone to two couples therapists over our relationship in the very, very, very beginning. And then more recently, about a year and a half ago or so. And no one's ever asked us that. They know I'm a later in life lesbian,
Right.
but that's about it. They
Yeah.
didn't ask us any of those stories.
And they're so important. The stories are very important because there's so much emotion tied to those stories. And emotion is the language of love and the language of connection. And so what I work with so much is emotion. And if a lesbian couple is not talking about their coming out stories and the emotion connected to that, then they're actually missing.
So over time, Robin has developed this course called Strengthening Love, Building Secure Lesbian Bonds. Excuse me, I'm going to say it again. Don't worry, guys, I can edit it. It's called
It's okay.
Strengthening Love, Building Secure Lesbian Bonds for Couples. And I'm curious, Robin, inside this course that you've created, what are some of the things you're going to teach people to do?
Now is the time to sign up for Wing Women Weekend, October 15th to 18th in Provincetown, Massachusetts. This isn't just a conference, it's a lifeline for women and non-binary folks who are new to queer community. You'll be stepping into a place where the energy is electric. Here is where you'll be seen, celebrated, and safe in your new queer identity. And you can receive 10% off your registration when you use the coupon code PRIDE. That's PRIDE. Participants report that this experience is life-changing. For more information and to sign up, visit wingwomenweekend.com.
So my course is very much based on attachment theory, because what attachment theory tells us is that from the time we are born, we are hardwired for connection. And there are things that happen as we grow and as we develop that impact our ability to connect with other people. And nowhere do we see this more than in our intimate relationships. So the first part of the course helps people look at their attachment and their attachment styles. Now, again, you might ask, well, people do that in regular therapy. Why lesbian therapy, right? And the reason why is because not only are there attachment styles that develop early on, but as adolescents are, so if their experiences in coming out are relatively positive, they may approach relationships with some healthy, secure attachment. But for many, many people, the experiences are not positive or they're mixed. And so it's really easy to develop an attachment style of avoidance, an attachment style of come close, go away, because there's anxiety associated with being intimate. And so it's really important that we not only look at what messages did you get about attachment within your family, but also as you came out, whether you came out at 18, whether you came out at 45, right? That's going to impact your ability to let someone in, to let someone close. And so that's a big part of the frame. The other thing that we address in the course is the impact of sexual minority stress. And that is a big term that encompasses a lot of things. Let's just start with just day-to-day stressors about being in a same-sex couple, right? Do you talk about your partner at work? Do you talk about your partner as a he or a she or a they, or do you not even mention your partner's name, right? And if you're every day, you are at work guarding yourself, when you come home, that's going to impact how you connect at home. So we're talking about sexual minority stress. So that's just one simple example, right? There are so many other microaggressions that queer folks experience day to day that impacts how they then behave in relationships. So sometimes sexual minority stress actually puts more pressure on the relationship to be a safety. Okay.
And I'm going to say, I don't think our community ever considers that. I
Really?
really don't, because in the course, you talk about how different partners can experience the world differently. So, for example, Anna, who is more on the masculine side of being a lesbian, must experience the world differently than your wife, who's more on the femme side. Because when your wife goes out and has her day to day, like no one's going to assume she's gay. So she escapes that. And I love you dearly, Anna, but take one look at you and like, dyke.
Here's people who are shocked when I tell them, I'm like, you shouldn't be shocked. Like, that's clear, you know? But, you know, and even me and my wife, like, we've had these conversations. What's funny is there's like also like a lot of assumptions, right? And what's funny is like, what's going, and if I'm with my wife, you know, I was talking to her just the other day. She said, Anna, I worry about you in public because I want to make sure that you get to stay safe, because she's worried about that. And so, like, I'm grateful that my wife is conscious of the stress that I have to deal with. And like, she makes sure she's my bathroom buddy. We just make sure we just do that for each other. And I know females do that already, but it's just like a rule we have with each other because we want to help keep each other safe. And it took us lots of years before we were even comfortable to have that conversation all the way. Or for me to even be like, hey, I think I really need this support here. And it was only through really terrible experiences that we had that we could even have the language or figure out how to have that conversation without blaming each other. Like, oh wait, it's not actually because of us, it's outside of us. And that's that stress that Robin is talking about. That's that internalized homophobia collapsed with that stress.
And I just can imagine, and I think about it, like, because I'm married to somebody who's masculine of center too. And so when I am out in the world without them, maybe I am gay, maybe I'm not. Do I face the prejudice? I think sometimes I do, depending on where I am, if people know about my relationship. But when I'm with my wife, I am perceived to be gay. And I can feel the difference. And I know, Robin, your partner, your wife,
My partner is definitely more.
Is also masculine of center.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm sorry, is your partner's pronouns she or they?
She.
So as she experiences the world probably a lot different. And like, I'm really curious because, you know, this is a late in life romance. I mean, you really weren't that late in life. You were 40.
I don't know. I was in my mid-40s. I think that's late in life.
No, I don't think so. I think that's later in life, but I don't think it's late. So like, how long before you two were in your relationship did you realize about these stressors?
Like how like when did I realize? Like when did I?
For you and your wife.
You know what? I mean, you know what? Early on. It was early on. You know, I mean, it was things like this really pivotal moment was when we went to this women's march in Washington, D.C. And this was probably about 2 years or so into our relationship. And it was like the first time that I was ever with that wide a range of women. And what was very interesting was there were a lot more women who looked like Jude at this event. I ended up feeling like an outsider. Mm. And so, you know, it was right there. It was like, where do I belong? Where do I fit in? Right? Because I'm 2 years into a lesbian relationship and I had lived heterosexually up until then. And I wanted to be part of this lesbian group, but I didn't really look like a lot of them. And I didn't really feel like that was where I belonged. And it really threw me into an identity crisis. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so that wasn't necessarily an instance of sexual minority stress, but it was, I'm not exactly sure how I would label it, but it was definitely. I think
I would label it as internalized homophobia because in a sense, like, because we have been acculturated to believe lesbians look a certain way, right?
Right.
And for Robin and I's generation, you know, being called a lesbian was a slur. I'm not sure if it was. Well, Anna grew up in Utah, so it probably was a slur.
Yeah.
It still is. In Washington State. I'm sorry.
In rural Washington State, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, how I looked is not how the lesbians I know looked. And I was so afraid of that. And I definitely, that like, do I belong here or not? I definitely see that as that internalized homophobia. Mm-hmm. And I can really relate, right? Like, me and Caitlin, we were in the closet for I mean, we've been together for 14 years now, but we were in the closet for 6 years. Caitlin did not come out until she posted that we were engaged.
Huh.
So we had to navigate
Oh,
those
wow.
dynamics, and then it was like getting married was the best thing that freed us up, and then we moved. So then it was just like navigating a whole other culture of like, what is this? And yeah, we live in Washington State, but it's still pretty red where we live. So there's all these things we have to navigate and those challenges that come up. But because we faced and confronted the things that are in this course, we know how to navigate it way better than we did when we were in the closet or when we were trying to figure out if we can work out our
Well,
relationship
just
and be
about just the
ourselves, right?
stress of your relationship being in the closet, right? That can create such conflict in a relationship, right? And we see this in relationships in terms of being out to one's family or not being out to one's family. So a lot of the couples that I see, one person is fully out to her family or to their family, right? The other person is not out to their family. So what do they do on holidays? How do they navigate that? Which family do they go to? Do they go separate? So then they don't get to celebrate holidays together. How do they navigate that? How do they navigate that conflict?
And how do you not let it come between you, right? And
That's
how do
right.
you like re-strengthen and reconnect? And man, there is a lot of skills that we had to learn to
Yes.
be able to make it through that. And
Right.
I love that your course really does start to give them these skills in a way that really addresses those things. Because, I mean, let's be real. My sister and most straight couples, they don't have to worry about coming out about their
No,
relationship. They might
they
have
don't.
concerns, does the family like them or whatever, and every couple has to do that. But there's all these other layers that queer people do experience as part of this process.
Yeah, like there's a great video in the course about this young lesbian couple, and they come home, and the mother is very, very accepting of them, but the father kind of standoffish and unsure. And as the video goes on, you see her pain around her father not accepting her partner. And then they wake up like the next morning and the father is outside painting the fence in rainbow colors. And it's just such a touching video. But what's so great about the video is it just shows the pain of not being accepted, not being loved.
Well, and there's my wife talks about something called like the full embrace and the half embrace. You know, the father was exhibiting a half embrace. You know, he
Right,
was, I mean, he's not telling his daughter, oh, no, you can't come here or
right,
anything like that.
right.
But he was very, very standoffish. And in fact, there's a great movie that just came out this weekend called A Nice Indian Boy that talks about a Indian couple and their gay men. And it was very much the same storyline where the mother was trying really hard to be accepting, you know, that she was watching out TV all the time and stuff like that. But the father was very, very standoffish. And they did a really good job showing the son's pain about how his father really he just didn't want to talk about it. He just didn't want to talk about it. And hence, because of that, the son had never brought home a boyfriend before. So this was like the first boyfriend.
Oh, this is a big, big thing.
Yeah. So in the course, you know, I think we can talk about sexual minority stress for the next, 10 hours. So you, attachment theory, you talk about sexually minority stress. What are some of the other things in the course that affect lesbian couples?
So some of the other things that we address in the course has to do with trauma, which is both big T trauma and little t trauma. And again, because of being quote unquote different, lesbians come to the relationship. Often, at least one of them has some significant trauma. The other reason that there is trauma has to do with the sexual exploitation of girls and women. So 1 woman in 3 has experienced some kind of sexual violence. And so you put 2 women together, well, that's going to probably be there in their relationship. And so the way in which we manage trauma in our lives shows up in our most intimate relationships. So the course also addresses that.
Robin, can I ask you a question? This is something that's always like, we always talk about, okay, so there's an old trope that women become lesbians because of sexual abuse.
Okay, yeah, that's not true.
Yeah, I know
I'll
that.
just say right
But
now,
can you
that's not
unpack
true.
that just a little bit for
I-
our listeners?
Maybe I'm Not Straight is a do-it-your-own pace course that examines why it can be so hard to come out. In this course, we talk about divorce, deconstructing religious beliefs, internalized homophobia, and more. And for those of you who have unexpectedly found yourselves falling in love with a woman, and if that first lesbian relationship is now over, our course, When the Catalyst Relationship Ends, explores why first lesbian relationships are so impactful and why breakups in these relationships are so life-changing. You'll find our courses Maybe I'm Not Straight and When the Catalyst Relationship Ends in Authentically Us. Find Authentically Us at AnneMarieZanzal.com.
I think it's homophobic,
Yeah.
right? It's like people, for whatever reason, always try to explain why is someone gay, right? Why is someone queer? Why is someone trans? And they have to come up with a story. And so often it's easy to say, oh, well, your uncle molested you, so you then decided it wasn't safe to be with men, and so that's why you want to be with women. But statistics do not bear that out, and it's not true. There are many women who have experienced sexual trauma who are heterosexual in heterosexual relationships. Where it shows up when there is sexual trauma is in the bedroom. And that's going to be true whether you're in a heterosexual relationship or you're in a sex relationship. It's going to show up there. That's where trauma is. So the other thing that, go ahead, were you going to?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
The other really important aspect of the course is helping people look at what I call negative interactional cycles. And we all get into them. Like any couple gets into a negative cycle, because negative cycles start because you mean a lot. And a lot of times the back and forth gets people into a negative pattern. And so what we work with in the course is helping people go from what appears to be the conflict up top to what really is the conflict. And often the conflict is about insecurity. Do you really love me? Am I important to you? Do I matter? Are you going to abandon me? These are the core attachment needs that we all have. And if you're arguing about the orange juice glass in the sink, it's never about the orange juice glass in the sink, right? It's really about, you don't care enough about me to put that in the dishwasher. And so if we come up with a plan to get the glass in the dishwasher, we're not addressing the core need. And the core need is, do you really care about me? Do you care about me enough to take care of me by doing something that matters to me?
In the course, you talk about creating a safe home base. So is that what you're referring to here?
It's a little different. What we want to create is a secure attachment bond. That's really what we're all looking for, right? We want to be partnered with someone that when we walk in the door, we can take a breath, is accessible, is responsive to my needs, and is emotionally engaged with me. If we have that, then the rest of life is a lot easier. And that's why we partner with people, right? We partner with people because it's better and it's evolutionary, right? So people have been doing this forever, because when you have a secure partner, a secure home base, then the world is less scary. And so that's really, that's really what we're aiming for.
So when people have that secure attachment, that secure home base, and so say somebody comes to you and things are just messy. I mean, most couples have the pieces there, you
Yeah.
know, and it's just sort of like your job is to help them like rearrange the pieces and figure them out and stuff like that. So when people work through this, can it rekindle connection in their relationship?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. But I don't want that to get confused with, there is a period of falling in love, right? For all of us. And that is very magical. And for many of us, falling in love with another woman is the most powerful experience, powerful love that you will have in your life. It's very different than being in a relationship with a man. And so a lot of times couples come to me saying, well, we don't have that anymore. Okay, well, we have to do some talking about that because you don't want there to be no spark, but to be able to reclaim the magic of the first 9 months, maybe the first year, that's not probably going to happen. But what is going to happen is this thing I call landing in love. And that is the secure love. So there is passion, there is excitement, there is joy, but there's also comfort and safety that happens. And the landing in love is where I think most people really want to be.
Yeah, so while
Most of
you're
the
talking about all these amazing things that are available, which I think are so relevant and so important, who is this course really for? Who did you really create it for? Who's it really going to help?
Well, so I created this course for any lesbian couple. Okay. So it could be a young couple who are trying to navigate kind of coming out as a couple, trying to navigate dealing with family, maybe have gotten into a negative cycle. Maybe one of them is a trauma survivor. And so how is that going to go? Right. So those couples to, couples who are in their 70s and really want a relationship to carry them into their 90s, right? But mostly what we're most of the time what people come and say that that is going on or that they're looking for is that they love each other. They know they have a solid love, but they're feeling kind of emotionally disconnected. So they're more like going through the motions. Or it's a couple maybe in their late 50s, early 50s, they have 2 small children and they've kind of lost the connection, right? So it's for those couples. Couples who have the same argument
Over and over.
over and over again, right? Because that's the negative cycle, right?
And
So
it's really not about the cup being in the
it's not about the cup
sink,
in
you
the
guys.
sink. It's not about how often we have sex.
No.
Right? I mean, but it's people who have the same argument over and over. It's also, the course would also be great for people who maybe have tried couples therapy and have not had a good success. So give this a shot. This could be really, really helpful, and so, it really could be for any couple, but it could even be for a couple that feels really good together. And this could enhance their relationship. Like this could open up new journeys for them as a couple. So it's really accessible to a wide range of couples. It's interesting. It is geared to lesbian same-sex couples, right? But it's also really good for any couple. Like if you rule out the sexual minority stress, there's so much in the content that would help any couple who would take.
I'm curious, would it help a same-sex male couple?
It would. It would. I mean, the thing about the course is because it's geared to lesbians, there's so much content around that. But yes, it would definitely, same-sex male couple absolutely would benefit from this. Yeah.
And what about somebody who maybe has a partner who's like, I'm not willing to really participate in this? Do you think it could help somebody who's on their own, or maybe somebody who isn't in a relationship who wants to be in one? Like, what does that look
Definitely,
like?
you know what? It definitely could. I mean, it's like what I always say to people is no one ever taught us how to be in a relationship,
No.
right?
Or we
Like,
modeled what we saw, and a
or we
lot of
modeled
times
what we
that
saw.
wasn't healthy.
It wasn't healthy, right? So like really, like we're taught all these things, but we're not taught how to be parents. We're not taught how to be in a relationship. We're really not also taught how to manage money. I mean, like all these basic things. And so this is really a course in how to do a relationship well. That's really what it is. And so if someone wants to take it on their own, whether they're single or in a relationship and their partner doesn't want to join them, they will learn a lot about themselves. They'll learn a lot about their own negative cycle. And sometimes what I see happen is they'll start changing. They'll start doing some things differently, and then their partner will notice and say, oh, maybe there is something to what you're learning, and then join them. And that happens in therapy a lot. So I'll have one partner come in because the other partner say, no, I'm not. We've been to 3 therapists. I'm not going to another one. And so, she'll come in on her own. And then we'll do some work. And after 3 or 4 sessions, their partner is often willing to at least come meet me. And once they meet me, then it's good.
They're like, she's fine.
She's fine. She's
Yeah.
cool.
Well, so
Yeah.
I think the thing that's super cool about this format of the course is that, like it's self-paced, right? You can
Yep.
come in, you can look, you can start the workbook. And if you're seeing positive changes and your partner's seeing positive changes, then it can open the door for those conversations and also maybe help you gauge if someone's not really willing to do the work with you. I mean, I hate to say this, but
Right.
you can get clarity around where the direction of your relationship is going. Because if it's very important you to have a partner that does the work with you, you'll be able to see, are they willing to meet me and do that work? Or is it better that we actually do separate,
That's
And
right.
also, if you are going through that, you definitely need to work with a professional. I don't think this course can help you answer those questions, but you can definitely start to get a lot more clarity
Yep.
around your own needs and how to strengthen and build that relationship.
Absolutely. I think that's a really, really good point. None of us would ever want to say that, right? That sometimes people come to therapy and they end up not being together. But the reality is can be a good outcome as well. If both people can move on and learn something about themselves so that they have a better sense of their needs or what they really want in a relationship moving
Yeah,
forward.
sometimes the hardest thing in a relationship is, and those of us like Rob and I who've been married to men, is like that realization. No matter how hard you try, your partner's not going to be able to give you what you need.
Right.
For me, coming to that realization with my husband, and the reason why he couldn't, whether if I had been a straight, my wife always has said to me, if you had been a straight woman, you might have left a lot sooner. And I've thought about that. I mean, because it was so confusing. Everything was so confusing, and I also was conditioned to stay married no matter what. So even though I wasn't happy in that relationship, getting to the point where I could leave it is a really hard thing to do. But I also had done a lot of therapy and stuff like that. But getting
Right.
back to Robin's course is, sometimes people go into therapy and then they realize this relationship maybe is not the right relationship. And that's what I really meant by bringing that up, is that relationship never was the right relationship for me to live my fullest potential.
Yeah.
So inside the course, we have put it in the community that I started called Authentically Us, because first of all, Robin started this because she believes highly, highly, highly in the power of community. And anybody who knows me and has followed my work knows I believe in the power of community as well. And Anna actually had the good fortune to come to one of my retreats as like an observer. And also she participated a little bit back in January. And she felt that power of community for herself, and Anna's also facilitated her own retreats for her own communities and has done a lot of work with she calls it the post-Mormon community, because Anna was raised Mormon. And so she used to facilitate a very large Facebook group. And so she understands how the power of community can change things. So this course is housed inside of Authentically Us, because ultimately our goal, and Robin's goal, is to form a community of women, lesbian couples who are trying to make their relationships the healthiest it can be. So inside the Authentically Us community, we've created a space for this course, for strengthening love, building secure lesbian bonds. And we've created a space for that, so that we are hoping that people, when they purchase this course, they will get the online course. It'll be 12 lessons, which are self-paced. We have a great workbook that comes with it, but we also have inside the lessons, you will have the PDFs in which you can do the work. So you can have it either or. It does a lot of work on focusing, building secure attachment, emotional communication, and repair, and evidence-based practices rooted in emotionally focused therapy, or EFT. And as I said, we've housed it inside of Authentically Us. So you can join a private group. It is not online. You don't have to, it is online, but you don't have to, it's not social media online. It's housed in Mighty Networks. And so you will have the opportunity to be alongside other lesbian couples working on the same issues. So what's really exciting about this is it adds layers of support, shared experience, and healing community. And so many times, couples often feel like they're the only ones struggling. But inside Authentically Us, you realize that you're not alone, and that changes everything, because that shared common humanity of having other lesbian couples is life-changing.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to, add to that, when Jude and I got together, we had two couple friends, the Carols, Carol and Carol. And then Carol and Deborah. And we had a lot of Carols in our lives. And if we hadn't had them kind of put their arms around us, it would have been a lot harder. And it would have been easier, I think, for either one of us to, at times of great, great trouble, throw in the towel. Mm-hmm. And so, having them hold us and root for us and just know that the love we had was something really solid was so important. And this is exactly why a group and Authentically Us is really a great addition to this online course.
Well, and I'm going to say that having Tanda and I have our own community, and it's really interesting now that I think about it, Robin, there wasn't a lot of straight people that took Tanda in and and embraced us. I mean, my family does now, but in the beginning that didn't happen. And I'm not talking about my children. I'm talking more about my siblings and stuff like that. But it is our community. They're the people that we actually often have the holidays with. And we have several couples we're friends with, but also within that community is several single people as well that are our people that we hang out with. And like Sheila and Ivana, we don't have a Carol, but Sheila and Ivana have been great friends for us since the beginning and really rooted for us. And like a lot of lesbian couples talk about, is that a lot of times it's really hard we always say we need more friends.
Yeah.
Same.
We say that because we have our group of friends, but we just need some more.
Yeah.
And so I envision this as an opportunity for other couples to make friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also I think making lesbian couple friends, I mean, that's hard. Me and Caitlin have kind of gone out. And then what's interesting is we come up against the challenges that this course addresses, and that those dynamics. And then that starts to bleed into our friendship. And we struggle to stay friends with people who are just constantly bickering and fighting because we know that whoever we're around, we can become We don't want that a lot in our relationship. And for me and Caitlin, it was really only seeing all other women, and particularly older women who had been in a relationship a long time, that gave us the clue and like the belief that, hey, it's possible to be together. It's possible to have a healthy, loving relationship. There's a lot of shit we have to go through, and we can do this. And that is what really helped us. I mean, be in the closet so long together, but then also come all the way out to be where we are now. And we really have created that safe place. Like, me and her have done a lot of work to know. I know we are solid. We're good. I mean, she's my business partner in my other business. And people ask me all the time, how does that work? Well, we love each other. We actually like to spend time with each other, but we do have separate offices. That's about boundaries and the security of that relationship. So, and I say all the time, people are always like, man, we need more lesbian couple friends. But also, where are they hanging out? In their houses.
Right.
Watching TV, binging Netflix.
Yeah. Maybe we could have a Netflix binge watching party in here someday. That would be awesome.
It's so funny because, lesbian bars have been closing and everybody's like, what? But the thing is that lesbians, when they pair off, they tend to pair off and become a little insular. And so while gay men will go to a gay bar as a couple, a lot of times, my wife and I have a local lesbian bar that's pretty famous, the Lipstick Lounge. We go there maybe 2 to 3 times a year. I mean, it's not a place we hang out.
Right.
Like, I'm also at the age now where I'm not going to hang out in a bar. I have no interest. So then it's like, okay, where do I find friends? And we do a lot of work inside of what I do in Lotus Community Coaching about how to build community. And so maybe I should follow some of my own advice.
Well, or maybe you're at a point where you have enough community, I mean, and so, that makes sense that at some point it was more important than maybe it is now, because have your group, you have your friends. And that's real important. So
yeah, and I think also to this point, right? Like, we need community, and quite frankly, some of the people I'm closest to, they live all around the world, and they've shown up more consistently for me. The other thing I think that's super cool about what Robin has created, and that she's allowed us to create with her inside of Purposeful Empowerment, is the unique approach that we're bringing to this, right? Like, because of that community and the experiences that Robin has and she brings into the teaching and that community space, we're really going to be providing that space because we understand what it's like to shift your identity later in life. And we're also we really understand the dynamics of what does it mean to be in a relationship with another woman, and what is that like? It's definitely not the same. I mean, I never married a man, but I dated a lot of guys, and it was terrible. I'll just say it was terrible. It's definitely not the same. Robin, what are some other things that you would say make what we're providing unique?
Make it unique? I think we've covered, a lot of it, and what I'm also going to bring to it is I'm going to pop in from time to time to the group for questions and answers, or, if something comes up, I'm going to make myself accessible. And then I'm also offering to anyone who takes the group, who's part of the class, if they want to have a consult with me, a one-time consult at a very discounted price, because some things might come up in the course that they want to just have a one-on-one with me and kind of get through a certain hurdle. And I just really want to make myself, accessible to that. So, I created this course, and then, to be, totally transparent, I did not know how to get it out there. And so I am incredibly grateful to you, Anna, and you, Anne-Marie, for taking this and packaging it and making it super accessible for just a whole wide range of people. And, and the course is fun. Like, you can also have fun with it. Like, the exercises are not necessarily all painful, that what I want people to also take away from this course is the joy of being in a lesbian relationship, and take away from it also the unique strengths that you have as a lesbian couple. Because again, that was a thing that's often missing in other kinds of couples therapy, right? No one would really talk about, well, what are the unique strengths? Like, yes, we talk about the challenges, right? But what about the fact that often two women together have more access to their emotional life, right? Because we're socialized to do that. And two women together are much better at taking care of each other than we see in heterosexual relationships. So, again, those are really important strengths to capitalize on. Now, they can go awry too, but there are ways to really work with the strengths and celebrate them. So that's the other part of the
Well, and I don't want to discount your unique lens, Robin, because, for those of the women, so you're a later in life lesbian.
Yes.
And so you really deeply understand that identity shift and relationship dynamics. And, part of my work here for the last, almost a decade now is that I want to change the narrative that people all come out when they're teenagers, because that's not true. When
Right.
I thought everybody had it all figured out before I came out, I thought everybody figured it out as a teenager. And then I went into the lesbian community, and there are so many women that have been married to men or don't, or not, never got married, but didn't come out until they were 35 or 40. It is really phenomenal. So like to have your expertise in that experience and that like identity shift, it is a huge identity shift going from straight world, hetero world to queer world. And so having that unique perspective is really, really, I'm going to say it again, having that unique perspective gives such a wealth of information, gives a depth that sometimes other courses just may not have. And, I also really want to honor the fact that the very beginning of this podcast, you said same-sex couples are often left out of traditional therapy models, especially regarding sexually minority stress. And I think that is a very unique lens that you bring to this course as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, you're not judgmental.
No.
And you're full of affirmation. So what I love about you is you meet them exactly where they are. You can be a couple that has done lots of marriage counseling, lots of therapy, and take this course. Or you can be somebody who's never, ever been to any type of course like this and still receive a benefit from it.
Yeah.
That's what I think this course brings.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so, you saying a couple of those things reminds me of one of the things that was really, really powerful for me in making the life transition, right, from the straight world to the not straight world, was the loss of heterosexual privilege. And that is something that later in life lesbians have to deal with. And if you're a later in life lesbian paired with a lifelong lesbian, that is often a conflict, a point of conflict, right? And so that is something that gets addressed in the course as well. But the other thing I want to say, because this happened very, very recently, I like to go to like one intensive couples therapy training a year just to keep my instrument tuned. So I was at a 3-day intensive with experienced therapists in Minneapolis in April. Every example that the trainers used was a heterosexual couple. And so here I am with 75 couples therapists who are well trained, advanced, right? And what are they hearing? They are hearing examples of heterosexual couples. And, I know I'm really attuned to it, but it just felt like, wait a minute, like we're missing something really important here, because like we're basing everything we're saying on a heterosexual couple. So all the role plays were heterosexual, all the demonstrations was a heterosexual couple. And so people walking away from that would not have any new awareness of, well, what if it's a same-sex couple? How would this dynamic play out differently?
Honestly, I think this course would be really good for a therapist a
Oh,
couples therapist who wants to work with queer couples and is really interested in about like, what am I missing? What are
yes.
something I haven't thought? A really good couples therapist will do what Robin does and go to something every year or every 6 months and really
Right.
brush up on things.
Right. And I do a version of this, like a 2-hour training for therapists.
Mhm.
So, I do try to educate therapists.
Can I ask you, after that presentation, did you say anything? Did you give any feedback about
I
that?
did. I
Yeah.
did. I did talk with the trainers because I think it was a blind spot for them.
Did they recognize that when you
They
told them?
did.
Yeah.
They did. But again, they don't see a lot of same-sex couples. So they would pull examples from their work, and that's what they talked about.
Well, it kind of
So,
reminds me of the same model, like, and based on appearances, people ask, well, who's the male and who's the female? And then they
oh,
put me and Caitlin in those traditional roles. And what I think is so funny is that we both equally take on masculine roles and we both equally take on feminine roles. Like, there's some things like, I'm not allowed to mow the lawn. Would I like to mow it? Absolutely. But that's Caitlin's thing. And it's my job to take out the trash. She doesn't want to take it out.
I
And
take out the trash. Tanya does not want to take out the trash.
sometimes it seems like these things are just seemingly surface, but there's the deeper roles that are based into our psyche and our approach of our emotions and how we structure our communication, our needs and wants. And that's all inside of this. And it definitely can't be like, let's just pigeonhole you into one of these categories because it doesn't work. Then me and Caitlin just do this.
Well, but the thing is, the magic of queer couples is that in hetero world, the man would take out the garbage.
Mhm.
right.
Generally, I've been taking out garbage for a long time.
And
But the
grill.
thing is,
And
there
the
is a
man
division-
grills.
I'm sorry, honey.
And the
What?
man grills.
Yeah,
He
the
does
man
the
grills.
grilling.
Yep.
But the thing
But he
is,
doesn't do the dishes afterwards.
No.
no. But there is a division of labor based on your gender. Well,
Uh-huh.
in queer couples, there isn't.
That's right.
But as somebody who lived in a heterosexual marriage for a really long time, like the biggest delight of my life is being in a relationship with somebody who takes half the responsibility of the household.
Oh, yeah.
I never have to ask her. I'll come home and the kitchen's clean. We both take on those responsibilities. And so like sometimes the stress I guess I'm generalizing here because you could be a really neat person and your partner could be really messy. Luckily, my wife and I are the same level of messy. So it works out good. We don't have that problem.
But the thing you're talking about is this thing that comes up in couples a lot, which is keeping in mind, right? That women carry the emotional labor in the relationships and the keeping in mind of when are the diapers running out and when does the baby need formula and when are we out of toilet paper? And you put two women together, you've got two people keeping it in mind. Two people doing the emotional labor. Now, it's not always that way, and that's some of what brings conflict, but that is one of the strengths, is the sharing, the emotional labor, sharing, keeping in mind who needs to be where when.
Mm-hmm.
And in a lot of the heterosexual couples that I work with, that is way divided on gender lines.
It must be very interesting for you, Robin, to work with straight couples. And you must have a very unique perspective on it,
Well, I guess. I mean, it's, that's where I've lived in both worlds really helps, right? Because I spent 20 years in a heterosexual marriage and now 20 years in a same-sex marriage, right? And so living in both worlds lets me be somewhat flexible and fluid.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So we would love if this sounds interesting to you or intriguing to you, it is available. So you're able to purchase the course. I don't know how much it is, Anna.
$197.
$197.
I'm going to say it. You are able to purchase the course inside of Authentically Us. The price of the course is $197 for the entire course and also 4 months of Authentically Us, because you can be in that community. It is part of the course, and it's actually really, really important to enter the community as well, because the shared common humanity of being with other women who are committed to making their relationships work is so helpful, because it makes us feel not so alone. And to hear, a lot of times, couples are often very hesitant to talk about if they're struggling a little bit in their relationship, especially with friends and stuff like that. So being able to be in a community where we can all talk about the same things is really, really positive. So it is inside of Authentically Us. It is $197. You get you get months access for Authentically Us. And what is really awesome is that you get the opportunities for coaching and connection, because Robin will be in there frequently. Anna and I we are the moderators of that forum. So we'll be there all the time. So if you have a question, Anna and I have delved into this course quite deeply, and we can help you out with that. But we have an ace in our pocket. So if somebody asks us a question that we don't feel comfortable answering, we will definitely notify Robin and let her know.
Yep.
We are hoping that Robin may do a couple of workshops now and then, just to maybe take one of the points in the course and maybe expand on it a little bit more, so that you get a little bit more depth and knowledge. So you can find this course at purposefulempowerment.net/strengthening love. And of course, we will put that link on the bottom inside our show notes. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it is below this video right here. So I am curious, my friends, any last thoughts?
I don't know. I think you've really said a lot. We've all said a lot.
All right.
But I think, really, I want couples to just have the secure base, the happiness, the joy that comes with a relationship that just feels really fulfilling. And that really is my goal here. It really comes from kind of a heart-centered place of knowing the power of that and wanting other women to have it.
Anna?
Yeah, for me, working on and, just working on this course and re-looking and learning some new things helped me really recognize, one, how great my relationship is and how grateful I am that I have a partner who has shown up and done the work. And also, like, what does it mean to be able to have that safe place, right? Like, I grew up in an environment where I hoped that would be my family. I hoped a lot of places could provide that to me that just could not. And so just knowing that I could build it and create it with another person has helped me so much to know that, like, I'm good to be myself. I have a lot that I can bring to the world. And I know behind me, somebody's got my back. And that isn't something I believed for a long time. I thought I was going to have to be single and alone forever because of how I was raised. And this course really also, like, takes complex ideas and really makes it easy to understand, easy to digest. And really, if you do the work for the self-reflection, it helped me see where it could be better. And I'm willing to do that because I want my relationship to keep getting better. And also, it really was fun for me to build it, to look at it, review it, and be part of it, because I'm also really passionate about healthy relationships and finding that kind of support. And this does give you access to that. And I have not seen anything like it. And I looked for years to try and find this kind of support. So
that
I am very truly grateful
my heart happy.
that
Yeah.
we were able to help you, Robin, and that you
Yeah.
had the courage to create something, right? That was a little bit outside your lane.
Right.
Maybe,
Right.
Not outside your lane now, but it might have felt like it when you were creating it. And
Yeah.
that's just not
Yeah.
the case now. It's just
Yeah.
really, truly, you are the expert in this. And I'm so grateful that people get to have access to it.
And you know
that's
what,
great.
guys? I forgot to mention something. So if you want to meet Robin in person and Anna in person and spend a weekend with them, we are going to be in Provincetown during Women's Week, which is the third week of October every year, second or third week of October. And we will be there from the 15th through the 18th, and we will be having Wing Woman Weekend. So Robin will be teaching she will be doing a very condensed 3-hour workshop of this course that will be experiential. So if you're going to be in if you're going to be at Women's Week during Provincetown, please, you can come to the whole weekend and spend the weekend with us, or you can just come to the course. And Anna and I will be talking a little bit more about our coaching program called True You, which is part of Purposeful Empowerment, and that will be on Saturday. And so if you're somebody that is thinking about what's next, Anna and I will be there to help you figure that out. So we'll be offering something on Saturday of that week. So you can find all about Wing Women Weekend. It's hard to say when you have a speech impediment. You can find out all about Wing Women Weekend at wingwomenweekend.com. So that will be below as well. And so one final thought I have for everybody, our relationships deserve more than just survival. Our relationships as queer people deserve joy, connection, and community. And you don't have to do this alone. You do not have to do this alone with your partner. And so we invite you to be part of something healing, led by Dr. Robin Sesan. This is what she knows. This is her life's passion. So we have somebody that is helping us to be better as couples. So I want to thank Dr. Robin and I want to thank Anna for joining us today. We are so excited about this. If you have any questions, please reach out. You can comment below. You can find Robin, Anna, and me all over social media or in some places in social media. And we'll make sure we keep all those links below. So thank you so much, you two.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Coming Out and Beyond, LGBTQIA+ Stories with Anne-Marie Zanzal. New episodes of the Coming Out and Beyond podcast drop every other Friday. You can tune in at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and at annemariezanzal.com. Be sure to hit subscribe when tuning in so you never miss an episode. And for more resources, articles, videos, and a free downloadable guide for coming out later in life, visit annemariezanzal.com.